All right, welcome to the Fantasy Six Pack Waiver Wire Show, Week 10 edition. I'm Joe Bond, founder of FantasySixPack.net. With me over here, Corey Pieper, as usual. We were just talking off air about the ups and downs of this week, man, and it's been a pretty interesting one. We got a record-setting field goal. Brock Bowers has returned and is utterly amazing. There's any doubt gone. Like he's the man. So it was clearly the injury holding him back, but we are here to give you some waiver wire options a little early here. Sunday night before the Sunday night game is when we're recording this, so things could change. Check out Corey's article that will drop tomorrow afternoon for the final list, but this should be pretty good for the top 6 going in here. Corey, we're going to start with you here. Isaiah Davis, New York Jets. The Jets are on bye, but you like Isaiah Davis as a waiver wire pickup. Why?
It's speculation, but last game we saw Isaiah Davis, 7 carries, 65 yards, 5 for 44, and chipped in a 2-point conversion. So it was his best game. And there is a non-zero, not 100%, but non-zero chance that in the next 48 hours, I believe it's 4:00 on Tuesday is the trade deadline, that Breece Hall will be somewhere else. So take a chance, put Isaiah Davis on your bench, and in 2 days, you might have a running back one. Breece Hall doesn't get traded, you go ahead and drop him again. But I'm going to say in a week where there's not a lot of running backs and everybody needs running backs, just take a chance, put Isaiah Davis on your bench. If Breece Hall is traded, you just got a big-time boon to your offense for a player that's not going to cost you anything. And it might not work out, but this is the type of chances we take in fantasy football. Sometimes you get a Kyle Manatt guy who had a huge game today, right? So
yes, he did.
That's why we do these type of things. We look ahead, and I think it's possible. Won't guarantee any trades, but what are your chances Breece Hall gets traded? You have a feeling on one way or the other?
My dog over here. There's a lot of speculation that he gets traded. I think I do think it would take quite. I do think it would take quite a bit for them to get rid of Breece Hall. I don't know, some people keep talking about the Patriots are going to go get him. It's like there is no chance there is going to be an interdivision trade. I mean, we saw the Flacco interdivision trade, and I don't think the Browns thought at all that was going to work out that well for the Bengals. So that's just a weird one. That's not going to happen. But yeah, you mentioned Houston. Maybe they do desperately need a running back. Woody Marks is just not getting it done. Chubb is not. And honestly, I mean, I said it before the season. I'm not really sure we see Mixon at all this year. There is just nothing being talked about him being even close to returning to the field.
Yeah.
So
I don't expect anything out of Joe Mixon, but go ahead, add Isaiah Davis, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah.
Moving over here to our first receiver, the guy that we want to make sure we talk about here, and that's opportunity is key in fantasy football. And we've known for a while now that Malik Neighbors was out, and the one who seems to have found a connection here with Jackson Dart is Darius Slayton, delivering again today. Well, I think we should get him on our team.
Yeah, when the injury first happened to Neighbors, I know Robinson was like the big name to go get, but I said, be careful. I think Slayton's going to have a much larger role and possibly be the receiver one. And I think pre-injury to Slayton, that's what was happening. Now, since the injury and he's come back, it sort of split that wire, like that one receiver set snaps with Robinson, but Robinson's getting more of them, and so Robinson's been on the field more, and today he saw more targets. But look, Darius Slayton still saw 7 targets today, caught 5, 62 yards. Just didn't get in the end zone. Gunnar Olszewski, I don't know, man. Good luck with that one. He caught the one random 24-yard touchdown to a receiver today. So, but yeah, I mean, the offense did struggle a little bit without Cam Scottaboo. I kind of did expect it to take a little step back. The run game is just if anybody needs a running back, hello Giants, right? I mean, that was bad. Tyrone Tracy last year was apparently just like mirage. That's just not real, apparently, because he's not good. And splitting work with Devin Singletary, who we also know isn't good. So that's just not going to be great there. They need some help. But if that's going to be the case, Dart's going to have to run a lot himself and pass a lot. And so Darius Slayton and Wan'Dale Robinson can both be, good wide receiver 3 flex options in PPR leagues.
Yeah, I think so too. Wan'Dale's probably a little safer week to week, and Darius Slayton is the one who's got potential. I wish Darius Slayton would get into the end zone, but when they get inside the red zone here, it is clear that it's going to be some combination of either Jackson Dart running the ball or the man is looking for a tight end. But if we can get a touchdown out of Darius Slayton, that would really even help boost the stock more. But the Bears coming up, the Packers defense, Detroit, New England, I don't know if I'm really scared of any of those defenses right now. So, yeah, Darius Slayton, wide receiver 3.
I will say this, and I didn't catch this, but I just read that apparently Slayton took a big hit in the back of the end zone late in the game and was unable to return. So maybe for your Tuesday night, Wednesday early morning waiver run, keep an eye on the health there and see if he's going to come back. If not, honestly, I wouldn't go after any of the other secondary receivers. There's Wan'Dale Robinson and Theo Johnson, and that's pretty much it. So. All right, jumping over here to the Jacksonville Jaguars and Brian Thomas Jr. Disappointed once again. Parker Washington, he did something, kind of.
Yeah, well, he's been targeted at higher rates than we've wanted at times this season. So in the interim since we last talked, even on Wednesday night when we did the Fantasy Six-Pack Hour together, Travis Hunter went on the injured list and is going to miss the next 4 games. I don't think we've mentioned that. That was kind of out of nowhere, as usual, with these things. And so no Travis Hunter. And then it was, okay, well, Brian Thomas Jr. should be back. He left for a while. It looks like it was a hip injury. Because of that, it allowed Parker Washington to just be the last man standing for a Jaguars team here, where another 9 targets. And for the first time, I think all season, he was efficient with his targets and caught 8 of them for 90 yards. The week before, he had 10 targets. Well, the week before they were on a bye. 2 weeks ago, he had 10 targets, but he only brought in 4 of them for 52 yards. So we know Trevor Lawrence is looking to throw the ball to Parker Washington. That's not a question. He keeps getting a lot of targets in this offense. And now if there's no one else left to catch the ball, and maybe Brian Thomas is there, maybe he's not, it seems that at least while I would rather start Brian Thomas, Parker Washington seems to be involved enough that you can, use him in a PPR format. They do have Houston defense, which we talked about off air next week. So maybe not in that matchup. They're really good against passers and the passing game. Then after that, the Chargers, Arizona, Tennessee, they're already through their bye. I think you go get Parker Washington now, and then we'll just see where it goes from there.
Yeah, with somebody I got a bunch of questions about this week, and yeah, it was sort of one of those like, do you really want to trust Jacksonville? Like, he didn't do awesome. Let's I think you kind of said it right off the top here. Like, this isn't a great week for waivers. It's been kind of that way all season. There might have been like 1 or 2 guys that we're like super excited about, but even with some of these dart throws that we've put out there, some of them have hit. You just don't feel great about it when you pick them up, and then like something kind of randomly happens, and you're like, oh, cool, all right. Parker Washington could be that guy. Like you said, Brian Thomas Jr. left with I think it was an ankle injury, and I'm not sure if he came back in the game, but again, that would just mean even more going Parker Washington's way. So. All right.
Throw it over here. We switched to the tight end position. So it has been an interesting season for tight ends, I guess is the best way to describe it. Like, there are guys that have popped up and then have disappeared, but there have been other players emerge off the waiver wire this season, and I think we're getting a couple of them this week. We'll start with Colston Loveland. This week, 6 catches, 118 yards, and 2 touchdowns, including the game-winning nearly 60-yard touchdown reception with less than a minute left.
Yards. Yes.
How long was it?
58.
Oh, I'm so close. Game-winning touchdown where Cincinnati forgot what they were doing with their attempt at tackling because, man, it was bad.
They were playing pinball. That was all they were doing.
Better in tackling. So they good game from Colston Loveland. Still have not seen a healthy Cole Kmet. I don't know if that's I think he left today again with a concussion. So he was in there for a little bit. He left with a concussion. But do we just think Colston Loveland fire him up here? This is a guy who was drafted ahead of Tyler Warren.
Yeah, before Kmet went out, they were splitting the snaps 50-50. So that is kind of the hesitation there. I would say, especially if you lost Tucker Kraft today, and we'll get into that in a second even more. But if you lost Tucker Kraft today, or and I know he scored, but TJ Hawkinson, look, he still only saw 3 targets. Not a great game. If you're still relying on that, maybe you just go take a stab at Loveland and see what happens. Maybe Komet doesn't return next week. Maybe they see this game from Loveland and think, oh, we really need to make it a commitment to get this guy the ball more, which they should. Like, Cole Kmet's fine, but we've seen Cole Kmet. I don't know why the Bears are thinking like they got to make sure they get this guy the ball more. Loveland was clearly making plays left and right, and was already having the best game of his short career before that 58-yard touchdown, and then that just put the cherry on top. So I like Loveland. It was weird because maybe he was getting a bunch of work because Odunze put up a goose egg, which was odd. And Luther Burden was out. Not that that's a huge target getter there, but it's enough that it's just one less guy. I think I mentioned that was it last week or on the Fantasy Spec Hour that that was kind of a thing. So yeah, loving somebody that's interesting, but not a must grab for sure. Potentially a must grab, especially if you are a Tucker Kraft manager, is Luke Musgrave. Musgrove. Sorry.
No, you're right. Musgrave's right.
Is it Musgrave? I wrote Musgrove. Oh, my bad.
You're good.
So yeah. Anyway. So yeah, it's bad news for the awesome Tucker Kraft. Went out looking like it might be an ACL. That's what they're thinking. So no bueno.
No,
I mean, we're firing up. We think he can be at least 75% of what Kraft was.
I think he will get the targets that Tucker Kraft got. So he stepped in. Kraft, I want to say it was either early in the third quarter or like late in the second quarter when he actually got injured. And Musgrave stepped in and he took 3 targets, caught all of them for 34 yards. I don't think they're going to switch the offense. I think that Musgrave will be, Kraft was honestly like their most, I don't know if he finished officially the top in targets. He is certainly the most vital piece of the passing offense for the Packers. I don't think there's much denying that. But I think the underneath routes will go to Romeo Doubs and Luke Musgrave. Matthew Golden also got hurt in this game. He had a shoulder injury. He stopped playing. I didn't see any updates on how bad that is. So we're starting to lose some options here in the Packers passing game, which clarifies it a little bit for fantasy. But the difference is Tucker Kraft is marvelous with the ball in his hands. He's out there. I mean, you saw it the week before on, was it Sunday Night Football or Monday Night Football, when he's throwing guys and picking up huge chunks of yardage. You're not going to get that out of Luke Musgrave. I don't know if you're going to get that out of many tight ends in the league. There's just not many tight ends who can do that. But if you told me that Luke Musgrave for the rest of the season without Tucker Kraft consistently catches 5 balls for 50, 55, 60 yards, and sometimes he chips in a tight end touchdown, yeah, I think he could do that. I think he's certainly in the tight end, borderline tight end one conversation going forward. If I had to pick between him and Colston Loveland, I think his role is more secure because I don't think Roma Dunze is going to get skunked very often, like happened today for Colston Loveland, and eventually Luther Burden will be back. I expect.
And they're not going to play Cincy every week.
They're not going to play Cincinnati. So I think Luke Musgrave has a safer role. I think Colston Loveland has maybe more like blow up opportunities in there, but both of them should be on a roster, as I think they're both borderline top 12 to 15 tight ends right now. So yeah, I would go make sure. I don't know about you. I lost Tucker Kraft in minimum of 3 leagues today that I know for sure off the top of my head I had him in, and I'll be trying to pick at least up one of those guys off in most of those leagues to see what I can fill in with.
Yeah, I would say the only thing, to worry about with Musgrave is that John Fitzpatrick does mix in a little bit more when it's just those two, and it happened today to where when it was Kraft, it's basically Kraft and like nobody else. Yeah. So, but Musgrave will probably see about 80% of the significant snaps. So. All right.
Last one is the one Joe wanted to talk about here. These are his bigger additions of the week. 2 most important players in fantasy. Now, they are players who are playing in the next 20 minutes, including one on Joe's Washington Commanders, another on the Seattle Seahawks. Tory Horton and Chris Moore, both wide receivers. So we're kind of cheating and throwing 2 together here. Explain your reasoning, Joe.
Yeah, look, this one, obviously, if you're listening post the Sunday night game, we recorded this before the Sunday night game. This is a little bit of speculation, right? Tory Horton is going to fill in for Cooper Kupp. I don't really even know how long Cooper Kupp's going to be out. I do know that it trended backwards for Cooper Kupp's availability this week. So that doesn't sound good for future week availability. So Tory Horton could, step into a role here for the next week or two. So that's kind of what we're looking at. It would depend, going back and looking at the usage from the Sunday night game is going to be important for sure. Check out the waiver article, which I'm sure Corey will have him in a little bit of notes there. The game recap article that we've got over on Fantasy Six Pack, and I write the usage trends article that goes out Tuesday before waivers run. So all of that stuff is there for you to evaluate Tory Horton and Chris Moore, right? The one thing about Chris Moore, though, is it came out, was it this morning or was it late last night? I can't remember now, that they are expecting Terry McLaurin to at least miss next week, and there is already talk of him missing through the week 12 bye. So you're talking about Chris Moore getting hopefully a healthy Jaden Daniels the entire time. And the last time that happened, he did catch 3 of 5 targets for like 52 yards and a touchdown. Not awesome, but that's startable. And you're going to give me the wide receiver 2 for the Commanders with Jaden Daniels, and Debo is kind of hit or miss. So that's not a sure thing every week. And I think Chris Moore is somebody who needs to be rostered for sure, knowing that McLaurin is going to be missing a good chunk of time again.
Yeah, I think I mentioned it when we talked Wednesday night that it's possible. I mean, he was ruled out so early this week that you had to wonder how bad this injury is, and how many times have we seen these teams just wait and get him healthy like they did with Brock Bowers, right? Where, yeah, as a manager who had a lot of Brock Bowers, it sucked having to find another tight end for the last 4 weeks. But hey, I'm pretty sure every team that I have Brock Bowers in, I'm probably going to win today because they got him healthy.
44
and
points later, that'll work.
Yeah, 44 points later, I will take it. And this is what you get. So let's get Terry McLaurin healthy. We don't need him to go back out there and re-injure. I think this is a quad, right?
So he came back from it last week and then re-injured it. I don't think he came back early. I think he just re-injured it. He sat out a few weeks already with it. So
those muscle injuries are tough, man. Those things, I mean, it just takes a little bit. It's a tough game, obviously, and it doesn't take a whole lot. You pull one and sitting out again. So we want to get him healthy, but
for sure. All right. Well, that is it for the week 10 early look at our waivers. Corey and I got you there again. Corey's article drops Monday afternoon with his full list. He's got the top 6, which is likely to be very similar to this top 6. And then he adds at least 25, 30 more in the at the bottom for just kind of, quick grabs, kind of deeper leagues, that kind of stuff. So
it's fun.
Good luck. Hope everybody had a good week, and we will see you next time. Bye.